Welcome to episode 6 of B3mtb podcast. We talk about bikes, bruises, and beverages.
Yeah, we're just some average dudes. We're talking about our mountain bike adventures. We're glad to have you here with your host, John Earle.
And Sally Hall.
Check us out on Instagram. Again, we're live, Instagram, YouTube, at b3mtb. We try to put our pictures and videos up as it pertains to what we're talking about. So feel free, and also feel free to reach out to us, b3mtbcrew@gmail.com.
Yeah, I honestly, today, while I was doing important things at work, thought about joining Twitter. And here's why.
Okay.
Because I'm designing, again, don't know where I found the time. Must not have been at work. Designing a banner for the back of our trucks, so the people can hear about us. You know, getting our brand out there
On the tailgate pad or on
yes,
the window?
on the tailgate pad.
All right.
That's where I'm like, I think that'd work out. So I'm like, I want everyone to know that we're on YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, podcast. Well, I was like piecing together all these images and it looked terrible because I'm not good at it. But I found one logo that had all like those icons together, but Twitter was in there. And instead of figuring out how to be good and like edit it out of there, I was like, why don't it'd probably just be easier to join Twitter. And just be like,
and now it's owned by Elon Musk. So
yeah,
that's cool, I guess.
yeah. I mean, he builds spaceships, so
Maybe we can put our logo up in space.
yeah, there you go. I don't know what he believes in, but he builds spaceships, so we'll give him some credit.
Well, hats are still on their way.
Yes, next week, end of next week, I think is the latest shipping date. Which I want them so bad, but
Stickers are here.
you're gonna have. Yep.
Look at us on YouTube. We'll put it on Instagram. But
I'm looking at you at YouTube. If you're just listening to us, on my Yeti can cooler, I put the sticker. It makes me so happy.
it's a reason you use that can cooler now because I've never seen that before. So
yeah, no, this is the fancy one. This is my fancy can cooler. Really proud of it. So, yeah, we're big time. We've made it. And then where are we at? What are we drinking? We'll start with what you're drinking. The full company name.
no, I knew you were gonna do that because I pulled it out of your refrigerator and instantly thought this is gonna be a good beer, and then realized I don't know how to say it. So I'm just gonna go with it's a lemon haze IPA because I don't know how to say it, and you're laughing. But when I asked you, you said I don't know how to say it either.
There's no chance I'm gonna give it a shot. I screw up enough things. It does. Speaking of screwing up, you have my Massanutten little koozie.
Massanutten Resort in Virginia.
Yeah, that was a fun trip we took. That was a family trip. And speaking of mispronouncing things, we went up there as a family. We're like, oh, we're going to Massanutten. And like we were in Virginia, and no one knew what we were talking about, which I didn't think that was very far off. But I mean, we don't know what it's called. We've just been doing research on the interweb.
Massanutten.
That's funny. So
So
yeah, that was my first time. Well, it was the family's first time going to a Lyft serviced bike park. And it was awesome. But all the advanced rides were closed down, so it kind of sucked. But I am doing, what is this? This is the Terrapin Hazy IPA. What is it called?
you have to unscrew the fancy one. You should have wrote that down.
I know. I should have. Just high and hazy.
High and hazy.
Which, it's going to be delicious because I've
good.
had it
Terrapin
many times. Big supporter of mountain bikes.
And then I'm going to follow up with the New Belgium, the Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA.
God, that stuff is so good.
So good.
And it goes straight to the head. It's
What I need.
Moving on. My second one is the Elysian Contact Haze. So it's going to be a hazy IPA type of night.
Yeah, and we have cans, which is sometimes we have cans, but we have 2 cans today because we are not at a brewery.
Yeah, we're definitely not at Home State Brewery in Winter Garden,
Which is where we
were setting up, and someone else who was setting up was a live band.
Yeah.
And we were not going to win that battle. So we drove to my house.
Drove down the street. We're at your house. We got beautiful ambiance lighting.
Yeah. No, it's I think we're doing all right here.
Quiet. It might be the first night we don't have background noise. We don't know yet.
I know. Yeah.
One of
We'll see.
Rude neighbors comes out.
We got a little hidden gem of a street right here, so they're all pretty nice.
What are we going to talk about today?
Let's talk about bikes.
Bikes.
Because I want more bikes. Because I remember that first episode we were talking, and I was like, maybe said the dumbest thing I've ever said, and I was like, our bikes haven't held us back from anything.
Right.
I started thinking about some of the things we've done, the terrain that we've ridden. I'm like, it definitely has. I think we got good all-around bikes, but definitely, like you're always limited, and you can only excel at so many things, and you're always going to be limited on something. And so yeah, dude, we need more bikes.
Are you buying a new bike? You're not committed. You're not going to.
I'm not committed yet. Honestly, I think I need. Yeah.
I guess I'll buy a new bike then.
for the podcast.
It's on me.
I probably need to upgrade parts on mine first.
So I downplayed my bike in the beginning. I have a good bike, but I want a better bike.
Yeah.
And I've upgraded my bike almost as much as I need to, I guess. Like, I don't need to throw on. I threw on parts that make my bike really good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend, $2,000 on a new drivetrain system when I can just use that money for a better bike, right?
Well, let me ask you this: how bad do you want the Axis wireless shifting?
I do. I want it.
Okay, it isn't amazing. Like, it's a huge upgrade, and they make the basic entry level thing like,
dude, for like $600 you can get it.
That's not that bad.
My problem is it's $600 if you have the GX.
GX and above parts, yeah.
My cassette, actually my whole drivetrain is not GX. So I have to get the cassette and then get the derailleur and all. So it might be a little bit more of an investment for me than
Sounds like your basic package on your new bike.
Yeah.
It's going to be all GX.
Well, I mean, we're going to get into that because I'm making the jump, dude. I'm going e-bike.
You are?
I am.
Like full, like, are you looking at other bikes? Like, if another bike came up, you wouldn't even like, what does she look like?
No,
wouldn't even do that?
See, I've always said, like, my next bike's going to be a Yeti. And I'm not paying $13,000 for the Yeti e-bike. So if you're listening, I'm not getting a Yeti e-bike. So if I wasn't going to get an e-bike, it'd be a Yeti. However, I've made the decision after being at some places and seeing and listening to why people ride e-bikes, I'm getting an e-bike. And I know you at first were like, dude, don't do it. I'm going to hate you. You're a loser.
I said, don't get an e-bike. Get a stationary bike and just be more fit.
Yeah. And cool, thanks. Also, when I get my e-bike, you can go F yourself because I'm going to be cruising.
Bro, so I was thinking about, because I didn't know you were fully committed to an e-bike, but we've talked and you were basically leaning all the way. Like, it was evident that that's what you wanted. And I was like, the climb up that we did, you hit Pinhoti 2 at Mulberry Gap.
Uh-huh.
You climb up the fire road. You think that you're there. You go down the fire road, and then you go back up another fire road. And then you hit trail, and you think you're good, and then it's another 30 minutes climbing. I was like, if Earle gets an e-bike, he is going to lap us.
Yeah.
You're going to go up, and you're going to do it twice, and that is probably would happen, that you could do 2 laps to R1, and it's almost like, isn't that the argument for an e-bike?
That's my thing is like, and I think you may have changed your mind. I don't know, but
I did when I thought about that.
I'm not getting an e-bike because I don't want to climb with you guys or with anyone, right? I'm getting an e-bike because I want to ride more.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're still going to get a workout. Everything's going to be the same. And so that was just my decision. I don't know. It's the way, I just feel like it's the way the bike industry is going.
Yeah. So I was so against it because I was like, we don't need it. We don't need the assistance. We can just be young and like crush it. We're not that young, but I still tell myself I am. And then reading an article online, like this is over a year ago, and it was like, if you're new to biking, I was like, that's me. And you hate e-bikes. And I was like, me again. They're like, you're an idiot. And I was like, oh, I was talking about all the technology that comes onto mountain bikes from motocross or whatever. And he's like, there was always this pushback from riders about this technology. And that technology is now standard on the bike. I would like dual suspension. They said, no, it's not good.
Everything from
disc brakes
to drivetrain to like,
yes.
even probably one of the most recent is like oval chain rings, right?
Okay.
And everyone loves oval chain ring. I don't have one personally. I dabble in the idea of having one, but I don't have one. But to your point is like everything that everyone is saying, no, that is stupid, is eventually standard.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where I'm going. I'm jumping on the curve, getting ahead of the ball.
Nope. No, I don't think you're getting ahead of the ball.
Give me a little.
Okay.
What is it?
Have another drink. Jumping on the train?
Jumping on the train.
Bandwagon?
Yeah, bandwagon. But also getting ahead of it because it's going to be standard. It's not standard yet.
I mean, at this point, are you getting ahead of it?
Yeah.
You're in the early wave.
It's not standard.
But I mean, there is e-bike races.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Go Nuts series has an e-bike cross-country race.
Yeah, I don't think I'll do that.
But like, again, if you're like, I want an e-bike because I want to ride more. I guess do they ride long, like further?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I haven't looked into it, honestly. Further,
just a shorter
faster.
race?
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, I don't know.
But I think I'm not getting a cross-country bike. I'm sticking to enduro.
No, yeah, absolutely not.
And I say this, I'm getting. This is not happening like next week. Just so you know.
But if it fell into your lap, I mean, it's not happening next week.
I'll say probably this year for sure.
Like in a calendar year.
In a calendar year.
Yeah.
It also could potentially be like a month. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, that's in a calendar year.
Maybe this could be Jen's first episode listening, and
she's not listening. That's why I'm saying this. I still have to plan how to hide it from her. So, but I have a list. I have a list of all the bikes I've looked at. And then I just have some in my head that I like.
So when you what's your qualification on a bike then? Like you said, enduro. What does that mean to you when it comes to a bike?
Sure. I want, obviously, the suspension. I don't want to downgrade from what I have now.
What do you got now, 160?
Right now, it is 160, 150.
Okay.
I don't want to downgrade from that. And I say 160 front, 150 rear.
Yeah.
There's some bikes out there that I really like Fazari, for example. I like Fazari. I like the idea behind it. It's right in Utah, lifetime warranty on their frames. But their e-bike is a trail bike. It's 150, 150.
Yeah.
And
I feel like a heavier bike, wouldn't that take away some of the suspension? Wouldn't you max out that 150 faster?
You either max it out or you have to put more air in it. It's like, it's just not going to feel the same.
Yeah.
Right? So as much as I like their bike and I like the idea of it and I like their affiliate program, I think we'd have a good shot at maybe getting on their affiliate program one day.
Yes.
I just don't feel like their e-bike is what I want.
Have you seen a lot of those bikes out there?
I've seen the Wire Peak, which is the e-bike. I've seen it once at Santos. I don't think I've seen any of their regular, just non-e-bikes.
And they're one of the straight to consumer.
Right.
You skip the middleman.
Yeah, direct to consumer. I know a lot of people online on YouTube that ride their bikes that are sponsored by them, and they make a good product. But
Yeah.
it's just, I'll look into it more, but at this moment, I just don't think it's what I've seen. I don't think it's what I want.
Yeah, no.
And you've heard my backstory of how I buy bikes. It's like, oh, let's go buy a bike. I bought a bike. Let's go buy a bike. I bought a bike. You know, I'm actually putting the time and research into this one because I'm staying at a pretty modest price point, you know?
Honestly, yeah, especially for an e-bike, you can get pretty wild. I was thinking earlier, we talk about how expensive bikes are, but as adult hobbies go, it's not crazy.
Right.
It's like it's that one big upfront cost. And you can keep going if you want, but it's not as bad as I think. Like you say it and people are like, that's crazy. But then you see a guy that's like, oh, I like old cars. And you're like, oh, that's a normal thing to do.
I mean, any car guy.
Yeah, any
right?
car guy. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I put a $5,000 turbo in my car.
Oh.
Cool. That's going to make your car go faster and then get you a speeding ticket and then spend more money. To your point, yes. It's a big investment, but it's not compared to some other hobbies.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's way more benefits. And I want to keep talking about your other, because I don't know these bikes as well, because I haven't really dove into the e-bike realm, but I do want to hear your thoughts. And like, if someone's listening, like, hey, mountain biking sounds fun, what do you recommend?
Yeah, so my bikes, I'll put my list in front of me here. So, excuse me. I have them listed 1 to 4. However, it's not that easy.
No.
I'll say my 1 and 3 are probably very close, but my 4 is probably my number 1, so it doesn't make sense at all. So we'll start with number 2, which would be number 4. But so
are you serious with this?
Yeah. I put a lot of thought into this.
Did you have like the bikes dialed in, but then you're like, my number 2 is my number 4, so we'll talk about it third.
Yeah, no, you have to be educated for this. So.
This is it's turned into a smart person podcast.
So I guess my last bike on my list, but still a contender, is the Canon Spectral On CF8.
Okay.
I like Canon bikes, and I've sent you pictures of Canon bikes I've looked at in the past.
Canyon. Canon.
No, Canyon.
Yeah, but there's a Canon, right? Or is it pronounced something else?
A bike?
Yeah.
There's Cannondale.
That's what it is.
No, this is Canyon.
Oh.
Yan.
I was getting confused.
Anyway, this bike, so all these bikes actually retail within the $6,000 price point. Whether you look at the numbers after the 6 is your opinion, right?
Yeah, because your first bike, which is your third bike, and you're going to talk about it fourth, that's $6,999. So that's $6,000 price ranges.
Yeah, it's $6,000. That's at least what I say, you know?
Yeah, it's an $800 bike.
That's how I'm going to sell it. Sell it to my wife.
We're on the second one. That was a good.
Anyway, this Canyon, it's a mixed frame, which is pretty interesting. It's carbon front, aluminum rear, so that both triangles are different.
What?
Yeah.
What's the advantage?
Probably the advantage is they can say they have a carbon bike, but it's a calf carbon. I don't know.
We're gonna sell it to you just as much, but it's gonna.
I don't know what takes more abuse, the front or the back.
I would say front, right?
Yeah.
So the front's carbon.
Front's carbon, back is aluminum. And then I'll get into these battery hours, which to me I don't think the battery hour, and I also haven't really spent much time on one, so I don't know if a 540 and a 720 battery hour makes a big difference, right? Is it the difference of
I don't know how
riding
long
10 hours or riding 2 hours? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, this has a 630, which is kind of like in the mid-range of all the bikes. And they all have the Shimano EP8 motor, which is the motor of choice.
Okay.
It is, I guess, the most serviceable, the most reliable. So I guess like if I look at like the Giant Rain, I can't remember. Excuse me, I can't remember the name of the motor, but it's not the Shimano, and it's not the shoot, I'm drawing a blank right now.
So the Shimano is
It's
like a
not the
gold
two-
standard right now?
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's not the two main motors, it's a third motor, and it also, I guess it's had some problems, but they have good customer service from what I hear. Anyway, not talking about that right now.
Because it's 6th on the list and you'd only talk about it after 10.
Yeah, and there's only 4 on here, so they're all in my head. It's like
I know.
I have like a math problem going on in my head right now. Anyway, what I don't like, I don't know if I necessarily don't like them, but all these bikes have almost the same drivetrain, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the Canon has a Fox 36 Performance Elite. They all have Performance Elite Fox,
Okay.
but it's a 36.
You kind of want that 38, don't you?
I do want the 38. I mean, I'm buying a new bike. I'm spending.
You already have a 36.
I don't. No, I don't. I don't have a Fox. My current bike is RockShox.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm spending the $6,000 plus the numbers after that, if my wife is listening, I want the 38. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Give me all you got. It has a Fox Float X in the back,
Nice.
which is good. That's what I want. And then the Shimano drivetrain. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm stuck with all these bikes is the Shimano, what is it, the SLX. I really like SRAM.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like if I'm going, it just seems
Do
like
you have experience with both? Because I'm a big
I don't.
SRAM guy. And for no particular reason, like I told Erica, like, don't buy me any Fox gear because I don't ride Fox. So I don't want a Fox t-shirt. I don't want Fox gloves. I don't want a Fox helmet. For no reason at all.
Your bike's not Fox?
No. And so, like, again, just out of...
Are there new ones?
What do you mean?
Are the new Evils Fox or?
I think you can make them with Fox.
It's
But,
interesting.
yeah. SRAM and RockShox.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know what any of these are, I mean,
I'm sure you
get in an argument with someone about Ford and Chevy and Ram and Toyota and realize that everyone actually makes really good trucks right now. And the bike industry has been like that for 5, I would say not 10 years. From everything that they've said, like the last 5 years have been phenomenal bikes by all companies to the point where there are racers that are like, I wish I rode last year's model. They prefer the 2019 over the 2022, stuff like that. And so, I mean, if you're wondering, like, all these things are like super high quality products.
Yeah. But for some reason in my head, it's
But
like
a 38, like a Fox 38, just has more suspension. And so I would want a 38 over a 36. I'm right with you on that one.
I didn't actually write that down. Now that you just brought that up, is the I think it's 170, 165 for this bike.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
That's still, I guess it's high. It's like high average for an enduro bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not a lot. Like, I think downhill bikes start at like 180, 190.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't your old man have this bike? Or
So this is the bike that my mom has.
that's right.
That my dad rides.
That's right. Smart guy.
Yeah,
bought it for her.
Yeah.
Same size. Yeah.
They do have a Canyon e-bike. They love it. Like, my dad can't say enough good things about it. They would have two, except that they're not cheap. And Canyon has, you can buy it, ride it for 29 days, and return it, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, ride it for 30 days, and at the end of 30 days, if you don't like it, send it back. We'll give you your money.
Maybe I'll take advantage of that. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe I'll do it.
I thought.
Send it back, and then you can buy the demo bike that they like, because then they take that bike, they can't sell it used, so they sell it at a discount. And that one is no returnsies.
So smart. That wasn't in my math calculation.
So for the record, that's fraud. We're not going to do that. That's a crime.
Fraud.
It's a scheme.
It's called changing your mind.
Scheme did a fraud.
I thought I was gonna like this bike better, but It is actually last on my list. And
what does that mean? Last on the actual list or last on your mental list? I'm so confused, and I have the list in front of me.
Stop looking at the paper and just listen to what I'm saying, right? It's last on my list of the bikes that I think I'm going to get, and who knows? I might not get any of the bikes. Who knows? I don't know. I don't even know. Anyway, so these next 2 bikes come into a tie. I think I like both of them, and so we'll just start with the YT Decoy Core 3. I like that bike.
I don't know anything about the bike except I listened to a podcast about the YT guy that's like the guy that started it. The Decoy name. He was in the U.S. He went into a liquor store and saw the Decoy wine bottle. I don't know if you've ever seen.
No.
It's a picture of a pintail duck. So the first time I saw it is when I realized I was duck hunting in Texas, and I saw this. It's a wooden decoy of a pintail duck. Really cool duck. It's like a $25 bottle of wine, and I've bought it just for the label, which we've talked about before. I do that. And he was in the store. He saw it. He's a German dude. He doesn't know what decoy is, and he's like, "That's a cool name. I'm gonna name a bike after that label." That's how the name came.
Must be nice to have that much money.
And own a bike company.
And own a bike company.
Yeah.
Didn't you bring this up? YT
stands for Young Talent.
Yes,
Same podcast.
we brought this up on.
So this guy, the whole thing, he got into mountain biking. He went to a bike park in Europe, probably Germany, and he saw these young kids like throwing backflips on Walmart bikes and 360s, and like these guys were like good enough to get sponsored, but they had these like trash bikes that were breaking in half. And he's like, "Why don't you guys have like good bikes? Like you guys are amazing." And they're like, "We can't afford it." And so he's like, there's no way that these kids shouldn't have an option to buy an amazing bike at a good price. So he made a bike company with that mindset. His whole thing is like the identity of my brand is we're going to be good at going downhill. We're going to be fast at going downhill. I was at the end of the podcast. I was like, I texted Erica like, we got to get YT bikes.
Maybe. Dude, we might have to reach out to this guy because I don't know if he lost touch with his concept, but this bike is also $6,900. So maybe I don't know. We'll write him an email and say, "Hey man,
like,
I got Young Talent. I'm trying to get this bike.
Like I have $800 cash right now on the table. What
can you do?" This bike though does have the lowest battery rating. Again, I don't know exactly what that means. It's at 540. But it does have good travel. 170, 165. It's got the Shimano, the EP8. It has the Fox 38, the Fox Float, and then they all, like I said, they all have the Shimano SLX drivetrain, which maybe I just need to talk to more people about that because, like you said, I've only ridden SRAM.
Yeah. So with a smaller battery though, it should be lighter.
You would imagine.
And he talked about like we wanted to make an e-bike that didn't look like an e-bike, that didn't ride like an e-bike. So e-bikes, like a regular mountain bike, is what, let's say 28 to 34 pounds in general. An e-bike is,
you're
15 pounds heavier.
Pushing anywhere from 45 on a light side.
It's a 55.
55 pounds. That's a lot of bike to move around.
And that's the one thing my dad said. He's like, it's fun riding, but you can feel the difference going into a turn, coming out of a turn, jumping
in the air. It'll definitely be a learning curve.
Yeah. It's definitely, and he's like, when I go back to my, they call them analog bikes now. He's like, I just feel like it's so light, I can just throw the bike around.
It'll be interesting. But
if he has a choice, he's riding his e-bike, hands down.
It'll be. I like the demo one though too. I like the demo one. I want to find a place that does that.
Fat Tire Festival.
Yeah,
they that's what they do. You can demo bikes like for 3 days.
I want to do it because, like, as in my head, having that e-bike, all I keep thinking about is Jared's place, right? Not waiting on a shuttle, going up.
So,
and like,
so Jared's place was is the shuttle service bike park in Georgia. And how long were we waiting for every shuttle?
it seemed like it was a busy day.
It was like Memorial Day weekend, or
So, actually, they did say it was probably one of the busiest days. And all they rent are e-bikes. They rent Santa Cruz Hecklers.
Yes.
Which is not cheap. It's close to like $14,000 for a bike. And one of our buddies rented one and didn't even use it for what it was worth.
Well, it's because his bike broke the day before. He needed a bike. Well, that's the only option.
But can you imagine having one there and just riding up and down, up and like that's all you're doing? You're actually getting more of a workout, right?
Yeah.
You're not waiting on the shuttle. You're not wasting time. I mean, because each shuttle ride is easily 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just think of all the time you're not riding on a day where but I'd like to see how it works out in Florida where you're not doing shuttle rides, right?
And no real uphill.
No. Anyway, that was just a side thought. But
so about that, at Jared's place, Eric and I went back and it wasn't busy. And we'd get down to the bottom. We would wait 3 minutes, and we were riding with the same 15 group of riders. We all made it down within a 5-minute period of each other. We got back on the shuttle, and we went up. And so it was like unlimited rides. And for that, I would never want an e-bike because you're back and forth. But on a day that we were waiting in the sun an hour for the shuttle, it's like that day would be
I don't think it was quite an hour, but
kind of felt like it.
Did feel like it.
Yeah, it felt like a long time. I mean, that was like in the morning, and as soon as lunch hit, I think riders kind of spaced themselves out. So we ended up I think we got like 12, 13 runs down the hill eventually on the day we went. But there's definitely a place for it, sure.
Absolutely. Is it going to be Florida? I think it might be overkill in Florida. A place like Jared's would be great on some days. I think where it's really going to shine is when we're on our mountain trips.
Oh my gosh.
But we'll get back into it.
So what else? You got the YT, which I'm a big fan of just because I listened to that podcast and I got to listen to like the two main dudes.
Honestly, when I was making this list, I forgot about that. I mean, the story behind the company is great.
Yeah.
And
like his
shows a true meaning too.
Yeah, his passion for it was contagious. I also recently heard Santa Cruz, that CEO, and I thought, oh shit, I'm gonna be buying a Santa Cruz bike at the end of this podcast.
Good luck
no,
finding one.
The guy, I guess we're not getting a Santa Cruz. I'm not getting a Santa Cruz sponsorship because the CEO, dude, sounded like a huge jerk. Like he spent like a couple minutes talking about how he hates seeing people on trails. And he wants more trail advocacy so they can build more trails, essentially so he doesn't have to see as many people on the trails. And I was like, you should want to see.
What podcast was this? Or show? What was it?
It'll hit me. It's not Trail Effect. The Trail Effect is the one that talks about all building mountain bikes. Downtime.
Downtime
podcast. And he just kind of came off, and I was like, and he made a good point. He's like, all these straight to consumer brands, like you're skipping the bike store. He's like, bike stores have a solid place in our mountain biking community, and if they don't get a little bit of that profit, like you're hurting their business. And I see that.
Yeah.
And Santa Cruz does a lot. Like they put in like $1 million to like building like $1 million just to like people who need bikes, who needs trails, like awesome community stuff. I'm like, I'm all about that. Like I'll pay extra so everyone wins. But he just came off like, he's like, there's no one that wants to see more people on the same trail. We need more trail. And I was like, dude, I enjoy, like when I ride, like we've talked about it before. Like I enjoy seeing other people. Like I enjoy those like 2-minute conversations. Like, hey dude, what's going on? I remember you last time I was here. Yeah. Oh, how have you been? Like those little 2-minute conversations and like, all right, have a good ride. Like, I think that's huge. And to take that away, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
it was weird.
Yeah, I don't like what that's portraying, because you're right. Those 2-minute conversations. I mean, that it's a connection built, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many times have we been places where we've seen people where we've had those 2-minute conversations? You know, that day when you need something, you're gonna run into someone where you're like, "Hey, man, remember I saw you?"
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, and then, yeah, I don't know. That just rubbed me the wrong way. What you just told me about that.
So I like, again, at the start of the podcast, I was like, I'm gonna buy a Santa Cruz. Dang it! Like, like I was gonna buy a YT last week, and now I'm gonna buy a Santa Cruz this week. Like, I'm so easily swayed, but I didn't like it.
You should probably just keep listening until you find one you're gonna buy.
So yeah. So, but to that point, I was riding Mount Dora, ran into a guy, actually remembered his name, and because it's my wife's father's name, so I was like, oh, his name's Pedro. Like, easy money. Like, I got that. And Erica and I rode Alafaya on Thursday. I was like, Pedro? And he's like, he didn't really remember me. I was like, hey, I saw you at Mount Dora. He's like, that was you, wasn't it? In my defense, I wear a full face helmet. But I was like, dude, that's kind of cool. Like, those two places are 2 hours away from each other. And
I mean, there's an easy heyday every day, right? Every day.
Oh my God, every day. I don't even know his real name.
You see that guy every day you ride, he's
somehow there. He
He
was there on Thursday, shockingly.
Was he?
Yes.
He was at Balm last time we rode, and he was at Jared's when we were at Jared's. Dude, the guy is there every day. Like, those little connections, I mean, that guy does nothing but ride with obnoxiously loud music, right?
Yeah.
But those little...
You know how many bikes he had? I think he had 3. He's by himself. He has 3 bikes.
He always has more than one. I don't think I haven't seen him with 3, but those little connections, like, you can run into that guy and be like, bro, yeah, I just broke this, right?
Yeah,
and he'd be like, I got you.
When my kids came to Alafaya and he was there, they gave him all stickers. Like, they were super pumped about it.
Anyway, let's
move on. Because these last 2 ones that you haven't talked about,
and these are probably...
I'm a little bit surprised with.
So I'm going to save number 4 for the last one, because that's probably my number 1 bike. 4-1. 3, the Marine Alpine Trail.
Is that how you say it? Marine?
It's Marin, actually. Marine. It would be Marine.
Honestly, I think in my head, I was like Marin. I should just never go with my first thought.
The Marin Alpine Trail, which kind of throws you off a little bit, right? And I have it on here because it does have my same suspension I have now. Well, no, correction. It has the same numbers, doesn't have the same suspension. The last bike has almost the same suspension. It's a 160, 150 bike. It comes in at the lowest on the price point at $6,299. Now, to be that much cheaper than the other bikes, you get the Fox 38 Performance Elite.
That's nice.
You get the this is the only bike that has the Fox DHX2 coil.
Ooh. I don't know, like,
it throws you off, right?
I know the coil. It just looks so cool.
It's a very good suspension. So
that's weird that it has a coil, but so the coil would be on the rear suspension, and this says the rear suspension is only 150, but coils are typically only found in like downhill bikes.
Right. It's weird.
Have you heard any reviews on how it handles?
Yeah, it has come on all the. So I look at a lot of because believe it or not, all these bikes are budget e-bikes.
Yes.
Right. Because e-bikes easily.
I'm surprised
to 15, right?
Yeah.
This bike on all the budget reviews is always like in that number 3-2 spot.
Really?
Yeah. It rides so good. It has. And it's like, it's 150, but maybe because it's that coil, it can handle, it seems like it's handling a little more. If that makes sense, right?
So that number, like the suspension number, which is how far in millimeters your suspension travels, and it's actually not as simple as a linear thing. There's, especially in the rear one, it's a bit of an arc, like an arc. The bikes, like my Evo offering is 140, but it's a softer, it's better for downhill or enduro than another bike that's 140. Like the way the suspension works,
Geometry.
Yeah, all that geometry, like
math stuff.
Which I don't understand.
No.
I just know, like, on my bike, there are a lot of screws that I have to kind of make sure they're tight before. And it's because, like, this delta linkage system, and I think, yeah, there's actually, the delta stands for something, and I think it's just the guys at Evil got drunk and made it up, and his name's Dave. Anyway, Dave's extra long travel. I forget what the A stands for. Dang it, yeah. But it is Dave's extra long travel. Like, they were clearly just had fun. So I think my bike is awesome for 140. So maybe this 160, 150 handles phenomenally, and it sounds like it does.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because of that coil, it's like maybe it looks like a 160.
Yeah,
or even maybe a little more, right?
Yeah, it feels like something. I think Erica rented a Marin when she started at the what's the place right by Carter Road, the bike shop, Leon's. Starts with an L. Anyway, I think they might be a Marin distributor.
Yeah,
could be worth a shout.
This bike is the only bike with a combo drivetrain, which kind of throws me off a little bit.
On your notes, you did combo drivetrain. You're going to talk about it, and then at the end you went,
That's my mental note to be like, throws me off.
Yeah.
So it has an SLX with an XT derailleur. I don't know how they made it work. It does.
Yeah, math, I guess.
But see, that's the kind of thing where it's like, if something, because drivetrain is like probably one of the most abundant problem you have on a mountain bike, right?
Yeah.
So, oh God, now my drivetrain's off. What is it? Is it?
So what company's at fault this time?
Right? I don't know. That throws me off. I don't know if I like that, but everything else on the bike is really good.
Yeah.
The price, I didn't say that it has a 630 watt. So it's again that mid-range watt. I really like the 38. I like the coil.
Yeah, the suspension suspension is phenomenal.
So I don't know. That's a really good contender right there. But this last bike,
I don't
know a lot about them.
I don't know anything about them.
But that's kind of like that. That's what feeds into the like. I have a bike that not a lot of people like or have, or you don't see. I've never seen one.
I love companies like. I don't know that I'll ever buy a Trek or a Specialized.
Yeah.
Because I feel like everyone has that. And so if there's a company that out there that's like, we're small and we're badass, like I'm instantly drawn to that. I'm so curious to what you have to say because I've never heard of this company.
On my last review that I watched, again, this bike, like the Marin, has popped up on a couple different ones. And this bike on, I think, 2 out of the 3 videos I've watched has been number 1 on the list, which is so mind-blowing, right? So it's a Score 4, and they say 4060 ZLT, and I don't know if it's 4060, but they always say 4060 ZLT. It comes in at $6,599, a little cheaper than the other ones. It's the only full carbon bike.
Okay.
With the biggest battery at 720. It has the Shimano EP8, right? The best motor, which I think puts out around 85 newtons of power, which you're getting into like...
I don't know what that means. And I don't think you know what that means.
I don't know what it means. However, it's like it's in the mid-range. Like, there's one motor that puts out like 105, and then there's some that put out like in the 70s. So like as long as it's like 85, it scores well, is from what I understand, right? So it has that great Shimano 85 newton meters of power. It's a 170, 160 bike.
Perfect.
And it's the only RockShox bike. So it's got the Zeb up front, which is a great fork.
Okay, yeah. So RockShox has redone their suspension this last year, and I've heard amazing things about Everything.
So it's a great fork. The Zeb, I don't have a Zeb on my bike.
I think the Zeb is the equivalent to a 38. Fox
Yeah.
38 and Zeb are kind of, because I have a Pike on mine, and that's like a equivalent to a 34, 36-ish.
Yeah, I can't remember what my fork is. I looked it up once. It's not. It's under all that, but
I looked at the Zeb when it came out, and the Zeb has a colorway that matches the gray that I have accenting my bike. And I was like, this is it's going to be, yeah, sure, $1,000.
$1,200 probably.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, it would look so cool.
To match the color, it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm a big fan of the Zeb.
So, and it's double rock, so it's got a RockShox Super Deluxe, which is what I have on my bike now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've talked smack about my bike in the past, but it's got really good stuff on it.
Yeah, no, your bike's good. But you have to talk down to it.
Yeah, to make it work better bike. Again, the Shimano SLX, and I want to look into it because I don't know if that's like an e-bike thing. Maybe the Shimano is just working really well.
Yeah.
Or all the bikes that have Shimano EP8 motors do like a drivetrain, and maybe it's like a package deal. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all manufacturer nonsense. And then I think this is one. I don't know. It's one of the bikes. I think there might have been another. I don't remember which one it is, but it has a 4-piston brake caliber on it.
That's awesome.
It's a big deal, especially if you're talking about a heavier bike.
Right? Yeah,
that's a big deal.
I think that's probably the next thing I'm doing on my bike is upgrading my brakes. I don't know what Joey at Adrenaline has sold me on a pair. I forget what they're called, but like every time I talk about brakes, he's like, "You got to get these." So brakes are a huge deal.
I don't remember what. I think they may have been Code R's. I don't remember, which is a decent brake. The 4-piston's a big deal. I had on my bike, I had TRPs when I bought it, which are really good.
Okay.
However, if you remember, I said I bought my bike used, and there was a lot of issues. We couldn't get them working right. So I had to get rid of them. I sold them to some guy. He said he could fix them.
Some
said, cool.
idiot.
All right, cool.
I believe you.
I believe you'll fix it. You want to give me the money? I believe you. And then I put I think I put guides on it, which is a good brake.
Yeah. I think I have guides.
I'm excited about that bike.
And like I would love. I'm obviously going to do some research because you came with a list. I didn't know what you had. Does Evil make it a decent e-bike? I know they make an e-bike, but I don't know if it's a trail or.
It might be a trail. I think I've looked at it. I think it's a trail.
Probably not in that $6,000 range.
No, probably more.
Yeah.
Like I said, Fazar's is a trail. I've looked at Norco's. Nothing really sticks out with me with Norco.
Are any of these mullet bikes? Or are they all 29ers?
There may. No, they might all be 29. None of these are mullet bikes.
Okay. So I guess because Erica went from a 29er bike to a mullet bike, and she got significantly faster. But if you have a motor moving the 29-inch tire in the back, it doesn't necessarily need it. It doesn't really matter. You have all the rollability and none of the advantages of the 27 because you have a motor going over it.
Yeah, and these bikes, to me, that price point, I think that puts you in a. I think that's a fair price point for.
None of these bikes are bad.
No.
And that's the thing.
So like some of the other bikes are cheaper. Like if you get an entry level Fazari, I mean you're looking under $5,000, like 48 probably. But you're also not getting what you're getting with these bikes. And if you go anywhere over, I mean, Pivot and Yeti and you're too much. And I've actually listened to a lot of review on Yeti. I really want a Yeti so bad. I've wanted a Yeti for so long. I don't know what it is. It's like
you just want to be a rich white girl who drinks mimosas.
Yeah, like give me a White Claw, dude.
Yetis are so nice. I don't mean to hate on them,
but that bike, is that their e-bike, I think it's a 160e. They label it as a race bike, and some of the guys out there, what is it, Lone Wolf on YouTube?
Yeah.
I love their videos, dude. They
do really good reviews.
They tested that bike, and they said, unless you're racing this bike, it's not comfortable. It doesn't want to do what you want it to do unless you're bombing it downhill.
Like it only responds to you if you're doing 40 miles an hour type of thing.
Yeah, downhill. If you're doing anything else, it doesn't feel comfortable. But that's what Yeti has designed it for. So it's like, as much as I want one, I don't want to spend that money. Are you kidding me? I can do so many other things with the extra, $7,000.
You could buy a whole nother bike.
I could buy a whole ton of bike for my wife, right? So I mean, those are
I've heard that before. Like when I'm listening to racers, they're like, it's tough because the company is giving them a bike to race, but the company is trying to sell bikes to people like us.
Yeah.
And what racers need and what you and I need are two different things. Like it's unavoidable. So like these racers are trying to modify bikes built for us for them to go fast. And it is a balance that they probably get upset about. And I get the bike and I don't know. Let's go into what you'd recommend. Like someone who does not mountain bike wants to get into mountain biking. What are you pushing them towards?
Just a full suspension mountain bike? Is that what you're saying?
So no, I'm saying like starting off. It could be it could be a hardtail. It could be a full suspension. Do we do a full? Do you recommend a full suspension right away, or do you recommend?
I think I do. We've had friends in our group who have just gotten into mountain biking, right? Well, they've been in for a little while, but and then we've also rented bikes for people who have come on trips. So the Norco Fluid full suspension, you're looking at like what? Almost $2,000.
Yeah, I think it's a $2,000 bike.
Price point. That bike is so good.
Yeah,
and it handled Mulberry Gap fine.
Yes. Adrenaline uses it for their rental bike.
Yeah,
and those rental bikes get used daily, weekly, and they have the same rental bikes for multiple years, so they can take a beating. Which I think, if you're looking at a company like, hey, someone uses this as a rental bike, that's a good sign. There's
argument out there if you're starting out if you should get a hardtail for suspension. And I started on a hardtail. I don't think it made me a better rider. I think you can easily get a full suspension and just and progress just as well as I did.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm good, right? But you can.
You're a good rider.
You can progress.
I'll say it. Even
you can progress just as well on an entry level full suspension, and then not have to waste time, waste money, because you're going to want to sell that bike, and then you're going to want to get a new bike.
Yeah, but you're going to want to sell the bike and get a new bike, i.e. this conversation right now. Anyway, so do you just buy?
I'm not selling my bike.
Fair enough, yeah.
I think I haven't said it yet, but I'm past the point. I want a garage full of bikes, so I can be like, I want to ride this one today.
Yeah.
I'm past that. Or if we're going on a trip, I'm bringing both bikes with me.
So Erica's the same way. She's got her basically a cross-country, it's like a cross-country bike, basically. And we are not selling that. But I want to get her an Evil Insurgent. And why do I want an Evil Insurgent?
You're going to get an XL?
Yeah, she's going to have to ride that XL frame. Because just brand loyalty, just blind brand loyalty.
I like that about you guys, though.
Just
like until you decide you want a YT or a Santa Cruz.
Yeah, but so that's what I was thinking. The only advantage to a hardtail, two advantages: you spend less money. You can go like we had that buddy that went on Mulberry Gap hardtail bike, and he crushed it. It's going to be a physically harder ride. It's going to beat your body up more. But if you get into it and you're like, this is, you know what, Tally and Earle were right. This is what I love. And you decide I want a better bike. If you'd gotten an entry-level full suspension bike and you were all about it, you would want a mid-range full suspension bike. And that's my only argument is like, if you're going to probably buy another bike anyway, you might as well save a little bit more money on the first one, dip your feet in with a little bit less risk, and realize that, okay, this is worth the money because this makes my life happy.
On the flip side of that, though, if you spend a little bit of money on a hardtail, say you spend $1,000, right? That is an entry level hardtail.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my feet wet with this thing, right?
Yeah.
You go riding, you're like, this bike is terrible. This feels terrible.
This
and
hurts.
It discourages you from mountain biking.
Okay, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
A couple of our friends bought the giant Trance and Stance. Trance is a little higher, or actually maybe they're both stances. I don't know, but they're both. And then you go from 3, 2, 1, right?
Yeah, they
So-
start off at 15.
Yeah, so
15
15 to
Okay.
like $2,000. That's a really good entry level bike too.
Yeah,
I mean, both those guys.
Marin makes a good entry level bike.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Stance. But if you can get a good bike, I mean, $2,000, you can get a decent bike. If you have $2,000 to spend, I don't know why you wouldn't buy a Norco Fluid.
It's a good bike.
They're good bikes.
And you go to Adrenaline Bike Works and buy one.
Yeah, actually, they did have I think they do have a sale. Anything under $2,000, that's actually like 15-20% off.
Actually, I need to go talk to Sean because Sean at Adrenaline, again, go check out Adrenaline. He has a Transition e-bike.
Really?
Not on my list. I haven't done much research about it, and I don't know why because we have such easy access to them.
I know.
Maybe I'll just go ride his bike for a while and see how he's
Transitions are, I believe, another Washington State company because
Really?
Evil and Transition, they had like factories at one time super close to each other, and they were all like very supportive of each other, which is kind of cool.
I'm sure it's gonna be over this price point, but I mean,
It's just numbers, dude.
it's
just numbers.
either
Can
way,
you
it's
put a
gonna
price on your happiness?
it's gonna be paid in like at least 20 years. You can get financing on that 20 years, right?
Like a 20-year note. Merch shout out.
You have a merch shout out.
I have a merch shout out. So if you're watching the YouTube video, this is the Mesa Solo Stove. And so these are,
And this is their base.
it's a base. I don't need to hold it. So we just got this in the mail. They had like a Black Friday deal. This is what came free. So they're a smokeless like bonfire pit, like a metal bonfire pit.
What did you buy to get that free?
A much bigger one.
Oh.
So we
I
got.
was gonna say you should have told me, but I wasn't buying a much bigger one.
So I have this is like a tabletop version. It's probably more for romance, which is why
I'll be honest, we should have had that going this whole time.
Yeah, you know what? It was brought up. Erica's like, you should do it. I'm like, no, but I want to save that for you so we can be romantic. And
This is new. You haven't even used it.
haven't even used it. No, we got it in the mail like either yesterday or I think we got it yesterday. We opened it up today.
This will be cool in a campfire, though.
So here's the thing. The big one is like a proper campfire. So like again, science, I don't understand, but very little smoke is produced when you use that as a bonfire. And dude, we got a topper on our so the bonfire pit's like, it's a proper, like you can cook hot dogs and s'mores and have a raging fire. You can also, we got the attachment that you cook wood fire pizza.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So like when we go camping, I bring this, we can have wood fired pizza and.
Well, you not bring this, you bring the.
No, we were pointing at the Mesa. This is for like, again, if you like have like my wife, if I set this up there and we start talking about crazy things like e-bikes, trying things we've never done before, like renting e-bikes.
It's crazy. Crazy under the smokeless campfire.
We're super excited about this because we got the camper, and I think it kind of super easy to transport. So when we go camping and on our kind of adventures, bringing this is going to be awesome. So Solo Stove, it had a good deal. The deal's over, so
Solo Stove.
I'm sure there's going to be another deal next week, which is how companies do it.
I would like one of these, Solo Stove. If you're listening,
Yeah,
we're gonna tag you in this. So.
I'm going to be so pissed if I bought one. We We plug it, and then you just get a free one for funsies.
I'll give you half the money.
We got any other merch shout-outs?
Let me think here off the top of my head, because I don't have one written down. I was lazy today.
How about more Leet stuff?
More what?
Leet? Remember we talked about Leet or Leat?
I forgot. I have to look at that.
Bro, I bought their shoes and I bought gloves for Erica because I have the Leet gloves and they're just. I rode when I was in Virginia. And I want to talk about the trip in more detail, but I would have been, dude. It was raining so hard, and all I could think about is like, dude, these gloves and my handle, like my grips are like. It was amazing. I had all the grip that I have when it was dry.
All of the grip.
I had all of it.
Nice.
And so I bought some for Erica.
So you bought her and you have the shoes now?
So I went on the website to buy her gloves, but they had shoes.
Oh, so you
on
bought them
sale.
for her in your size. Are they just flat platform shoes?
Yeah, they're biking shoes, but like I need to subtly tell the whole world that I'm a mountain bike rider. So they're going to be casual shoes that if you know, you know.
Yeah, so if you're just out on the town one day and someone has a mountain bike, you're like, bro,
you see, you know what's up.
I can do that. Let me see.
You know what's up. I could probably do a backflip right now, but I'm just hanging out because these are my casual shoes.
But it's funny they keep saying backflip because that was our goal for this year, and
Dude, this year's not over, and I'm not gonna try.
I'm not gonna try a backflip.
So I'm not gonna try a backflip. We went riding, and I did try some new tricks. And when I say new tricks, I mean a trick that I've tried before, my left whip. So I can whip on the right side. And Erica had an awesome day riding, and she was throwing her first whips. Because she used to try to do whips, but I called it a little shimmy shake. She would just like kind of shake in the air. She's
shaking. Maybe try to.
Yeah. But she got it kind of dialed in, and so she was throwing whips, and I was
nice.
like, all right, yeah. So it was a really fun day of riding. That was the Alafaya on Thursday, so I was like, I need to get better at my left whips, and it's like a young child, and you tell them like throw a baseball with your other hand. Dude, it is
still to this day. If I throw a baseball with my left hand, it's like
just left hand, left foot at the same time.
You end up pulling a muscle in like your right side somewhere.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do a backflip.
Where are we gonna go ride? We're gonna go riding on Monday.
Yeah, let's go riding on Monday.
Today is Saturday. Where are we gonna go?
So
do you want to let's do a ride cast.
Yeah.
If we have enough time.
Honestly, I think Alafaya is not. I don't think Alafaya is the bike, the trail system that if there were no other trails I could ride, I would choose Alafaya.
Okay.
Which is different from Alafaya. Alafaya is spelled differently.
Really? I thought you're like a bomb dude.
So those are my favorite like mountain biking flowy trails. I think those trails are the best. But Alafaya has the jumps. So the trail system I think is better at Balm, but the variety of what you can ride is better at Alafaya. And there's like one of their best trails, like Gatorland, Gator.
Oh my gosh.
I've never ridden it.
Gator Pit?
No, that's
Balm.
I've never ridden it. It's because I'm always bypassing it to go somewhere else. And someone's like, dude, they got this sick 6-foot drop. Alafaya is the first time I had like my real drop. Like my first big drop was that 6-footer they have. I did it by myself. So if I had died, you guys would still be looking for my body. Like,
smart.
Yeah, it's not.
Erica going to be with us?
No. Yeah. Dang it. She's working.
Boy ride. It's going to get crazy.
I guess, yeah. Just get a babysitter and my kids can come home. It's like my dogs will take care of my kids. So it's fine. Yeah, we can stay out as late as, yeah, it'll be fine.
Cool.
You got anything else?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for this next episode. Let's do a ride cast. We haven't done that yet.
You haven't done that yet? I'm happy we did this. This one was a good one. We've been talking about new bikes, so If you want a sticker,
Come find us.
come find
Hit
us.
up.
Yeah, and please put it on something. If you take a sticker and you don't put it on something cool, then we're going to metaphorically punch you in the face. We're not going to do any physical violence.
And that's just one less sticker I have, and I have to buy more.
Yeah, which we want to do. We talked about racing. We're not going to do that race. We're good on
which one?
The downhill race.
Oh, yeah. In March?
Yeah, let's just do Fat Tire.
Yeah, we're not going to do the downhill race in March. And I'm sure we'll touch on this again because we have it seems probably 50 more episodes before Fat Tire. But
let's set our goals on Fat Tire.
March, we're going to do the Fat Tire Festival.
Over 10,000 people are going to be there.
We should have a tent, and we'll have hopefully some merch out there.
If you buy the stickers instead of us giving it.
Yeah, just wait. Try to find us, but we won't be available until March.
I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening. Again, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook at b3mtb. And then we're b3mtb crew at gmail.com if you want to hit us up. If you are buying a bike, please hit us up. If you're interested in buying a new bike, we would love to hear what bike you're thinking about. We'll talk about it if you hit us up. That'd be really cool. I hope someone's inspired to get into this because it is. It's awesome.
It's a big part of my life now.
Yeah,
I'm glad I got into it. I'm glad we're still into it. I'm glad we're doing this, and hopefully, like you said, we reach out to someone. So,
all right.
Enjoy your rides, guys. We'll catch up with you.
See you.